Riddle versus Singularity. And we're coming back with one of the favorite bits for everyone back at home with the fan on the street.
My name is Romy, I'm a Riddle fan, and we're going to beat Singularity easily because we have the most Norwegian players and the best Riddle fans.
Wait, fan as single?
I wasn't
No?
expecting the fans to come.
Everybody on the back, what? I love this bit though. Well, how do you feel about this bit? Would you like to see that at LEC as well?
That was so cute. I love
There
it.
you go. It's so fun,
That was
man.
really nice to see.
So Riddle versus Singularity. Let's kick off with Riddle at this point. It's Rudolph on the top as the sub, Stefan on the jungle popping off with Jax Plank coming from the top to the mid lane for now, alongside with Reje on the bot side and Nash as a support. So they're not fully built right now, and they made a huge announcement about this team, but it's still a strong team.
Yeah, so we're definitely expecting the roster to be Kevor as AD carry and Vlad in the middle with Jax Plank in his initial roll up the top side of the map. This is not going to be the case, right? The thing that I'm most worried about is the fact that Jax Plank might be quote-unquote crippling the draft because he's a top lane player at this point, right? Because he might not be able to bring the assassin mages like the LeBlancs and the Ares in the mid lane, maybe the Lissandra, the Syndra. And I felt like there was a little bit of a shortage when it comes to controlling that mid-jungle duo, especially in the previous game, because I felt like Jax Plank was sort of the target for everyone in this game. It was like, oh, this guy is from top lane to mid, he's playing Renekton and trying to neutralize the 1v1. If we hit on him, we can neutralize the entire game, which almost didn't work for Bifrost.
What
Yeah.
about Stefan, though? The jungle was amazing, but you as a top laner, imagine you are forced to play in the mid lane to force those champions.
Yeah.
How can you look into that?
Okay, so
Play Kled.
so this is 10.9, right? Or 11.9? I don't know. 12.9, whatever.
0.9,
Either
yeah.
way,
0.9.
either way, it's a meta where these skirmish mages are picked almost every game, seeing at MSI. There was the Aris, the Vex, the Lissandras, the yada yada yadas, and there's not a lot of else to play. And if you're a top laner coming to mid lane, you kind of have to think of something. You got to be a little bit creative, I think. So I think seeing how well Stefan performs, I would love if they try to draft stuff like Sion or Ornn mid. Have a really supportive mid laner that can still push and unlock your jungler, and try to like. I'm not going to say cheese wins, but I'm going to say they should try to cheese some wins doing that.
I mean, you can't cheese. You literally have three
Yeah.
subs
Yeah.
right now. Your top laner plays
Yeah.
me
You
like
need to
cheese all
bring
the way.
something.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of cheese in every single game.
I don't think you should put your out-of-field top laner in a position where he's playing like a matchup he's not super comfortable in, where he has a lot of pressure on him to perform. Playing Renekton against, I don't know what he played.
LeBlanc.
Blanc, yeah.
God, my lord, LeBlanc. Yeah, like.
And I'm going to take that advantage because
Yeah.
he's going to play versus Pizzione, which is the new mid laner for Singularity. So looking into Singularity, it's Tatuy again on the top lane, Pop, Pizzione in the mid lane, Spiky, and Yepe on the bot side. So only the shift coming in from the mid lane. So Jake's Plank, if they keep the same roster as they did in Monday, is going to be forced to play versus someone that is popping off. And Singularity showcased that they're back and they want some wins. Is this the perfect time to get those wins?
I mean, surely you're going to have to take advantage of somebody who is quote-unquote autofilled at this point, right? He has to play in the mid lane with a crippling champion pool compared to other mid laners. And Pigeon, if he brings out his Aziz, his Victors, you can very easily zone away one of these melee champions that you're going to typically play if you're a top laner, right? So I do agree here. Like, you can bring out the tank and then not care playing against any of these mates that are going to be poking you away. Because then at some point you regen, and then at some point you don't care because you're too tanky. Now, my only problem is that we saw some sort of identity coming in from the top side of the map of Singularity with the heavy dive, but then it was a little bit of a head scratcher when Pizzione and the bot side of the map played Jinx, Kench, Azir. So to me, it felt like it was a little bit disconnected. Two people were diving in, but then three people were chilling at the back, and it was like a little bit of a gap whenever there was a team fight happening, like nothing was in the middle, two people were dying, three people were chilling. So even though I did see a style where their macro looked better in the early game, their style looked better in the early game, they had a game plan in the early game, I felt like later on the draft didn't really do them a lot of favors.
And since we got to listen about Riddle, I want to listen about Singularity. So we talked with a few players to understand what they think about this matchup. Take a look.
I think they'll be really strong. I think Kevo was a relatively strong player in ADC. Nash is a pretty consistent support player. Their Greek solo laners are very interesting as well. They seem quite strong. I think, barring any like attitude issues, I think they should be like a top 3 team.
Yeah, I think the new Riddle looks great. When it's a completely different team, it's probably gonna take a while to find their footing, right? But the roster looks like it has potential, and like when they find their synergy and find their footing in the league, I think they will do fine. I don't know if it's a better roster from last bit. I think last bit Riddle was really good, but I definitely see the.
And there we go. We are back. We were talking about
I was trying to
something.
figure out where he's from. Like, you from Finland? He's like, I'm Swedish. I'm like, oh, sorry.
Finland. Was that the idea that you got? Okay.
I was like, okay, so just because my name is Finn, you think I'm from Finland? I mean, okay, it's whatever.
But Singularity are looking at Riddle and they understand that this is a good team.
People have asked me if I'm from Georgia, by the way, because my name is Georgia, though.
Yeah, so you just did the same, but whatever, let's move on.
Love it. There you
So
go.
back to the game.
The desk. Singularity are aware that Riddle is a strong team and they may face some trouble, but they're still playing with substitutes. What should we look into this game? Where is going to be the momentum, the action? What do you guys think? Where should we focus?
Okay, seeing how Stefan actually performed in the previous game with Riddle, I would be very interested to see the matchup, the stylistic matchup versus Pop and what Pop wants to bring out. Because in the Singularity draft, they first picked the Nocturne. They really believe that the pick does not have any counter picks, but then it was just lackluster when he was diving in the backline all alone. Now, I would like to see a more cohesive draft. If you want to pick for that Nocturne, give him backline divers, give more people that can access the backline to complement the pick, right?
Yeah, I actually really agree on that statement. I think Nocturne, really strong champion right now, and I think it's a fine first pick, but you can't just first pick Nocturne and then leave him out to dry, you know? You gotta actually just pick supporting cast for him, you gotta maybe not the TF if your mid laner is out of field, but something similar, no? Maybe bring out the Shen mid, you know? Just I don't know, I'm just giving ideas now, but either way, I want to see, like, I really like the Nocturne first pick if they would go back to it, but they gotta, like, yeah, help him out a little bit, because he can't go in there alone.
They have to do it, and they have to do it on the champion select, which we are about to jump into. Both teams are ready. It is Riddle versus Singularity. Is the second game of week 1, day 2. Let's see what happens, because they still have that mid laner, so Shen could be a possibility. I know we're gonna jump into champion select. You're not gonna do me dirty. There we go. We jump into champion select. Riddle on the blue side yet again, and they have that ability. They can first pick something.
I was laughing at the Riddle coach name. Sorry, I'm gonna focus on
Previous
that.
split, it was MC.
Funny, because it's funny. His jungler was MC.
Oh,
season,
makes sense.
so-
Now it doesn't make sense. Now it has to be don't ban Jax.
Talking about Jax.
It makes sense. Okay, let's see what the bans are gonna be.
Okay, so I'm expecting right here that,
Is that a missed ban?
especially since the
Don't ban Jax.
since the Jax Blank on the top lane used to also play Lucian, I would expect to see a Lucian ban from red side this time for Singularity, because we also have Reje in the bot lane that can also play the Lucian. I do not expect to see actually a blue side Lucian ban, even though I can't see the bans right now.
I mean, there is one ban missing from Riddle, so I'm a bit...
They skipped the ban.
they skipped the ban just
yeah,
to
on
show that they're that good?
No, because of something, but they missed the ban.
Oh, okay.
But looking more, Nocturne has been removed from this game, from Riddle's side, so Team Singularity are not allowed to take that one. Now, do they ban the Lucian, as you guys were talking about, but Gwen is still available, Aaliyah was available.
Okay, so Talia and Lucian both up, so
Yeah.
either you trade those or you ban one of them and pray they don't pick it. So they go for the Karma, which is a bit unique. Not something I would go for personally, but seeing as Lucian is up, I would expect them to pick Lucian and then maybe pair it with Nami right now, unless they want to keep Lucian flex till 5. Oh, hi.
This is for you, this is for you.
my
This is a
God.
momentum like Finn is in the studio.
Oh, and that's for you. And I'm gonna be
Tatuy.
left out to dry. Oh!
Oh, we got the trio, the Trinity Force.
That guy is so cute. Okay.
I'm a big Tatuy fan right now.
The Carter's jungle again.
Okay, so
You saw this.
Pop did this last split as well.
Game 1.
Right now, you're blind picking it into potentially a heavy skirmishing jungler with priority double solo lanes, right? Because mind you, yes, Jax might not play a mage, but he can take the Karma mid lane. We saw Rudolph play the Vladimir. So if you have two AP solo laners that can shove in the waves, that means your jungler is allowed to move in and try to potentially find the Karthus.
Yeah, I'm a bit mind blown because Lucian went to 2-3 on blue side. That's very unique to see. Usually this champion is very highly contested. But there we see the Nami coming out, which does indicate that this is solo lane Karma, which is a fantastic outfield pick, even if you're playing solo key and Seal before.
Hoplin is played too, right? You've
Yeah.
played it before, so...
Yeah, so it is a great pick when you're out the field because you can actually help out the jungler a lot. You just move around the team. You don't need to farm as much as on other champions.
That would be a spiky special, but we are taught not to ever talk about hovers.
Yeah, it is locked in. Which is, I mean, the Raven is an answer to Lucian. Usually people pick stuff like really aggressive bot laners like Kalista or Draven into Lucian because if you don't match these champions like early game strength, you might just get demolished in lane. So what people usually do is they pick a strong engaging support to engage on the Nami, and they pick a super strong AD carry like Kalista Draven and try to fight them, which is what they're going for here. But it's a very, very volatile bot lane matchup. The first
bot
man,
lanes are aggressive.
yes, the first one who dies just loses the game usually.
So the attention is going to shift to the bot side with the junglers with this sort of
Yes.
bot line, right?
Seeing as SNG have like a kind of farming jungler, this really opens up Riddle to heavily draft into a heavy bot lane style play. So we'll see if he can do it here.
I'm thinking that right here, because of the draft you're having, you could even go into something like a Kindred jungle. You can deny the Karthus ultimate, you can play aggressive into Karthus' jungle. You've got the Karma in the solo lane. You could have maybe Vladimir again for Rudolph on the top side of the map, so you've got your double AP coming in. And then you can actually perma-invade and try to stop the Karthus dead in his tracks. Does he pop Requiem later on? You've got Kindred ultimate to reply to that, because I was expecting either Kindred or Graves to come in, and from Riddle, Graves has been banned away, and then it's Viego on the other side. So Listen, yes, is still in the cards, but I find Kindred to be such a strong pick here.
Even if you don't pick that, the sign you talked about previously could be the front line, could be the beefy target, and it doesn't care about the slow, the CC, it just runs at you. So what do you think about this, Finn? At this point in the Champion Select, you see the bans coming in, the last bans. Where you reckon is going to be on this side?
Yes, I would really like a Volibear for Riddle here on 4-5. I'm not sure what Singularity is going to pick now. Probably Gwen is open. There's going to be the Jar? No.
Yeah.
It is.
So it's a solo lane Karthus coming out there, which is it's interesting. It's been popping up a little bit more here and there. Jarvan into Lucianami can work in theory, but I do like it more because now they can actually match them in bot lane. You don't want to draft Draven and Nautilus into Lucianami and have a full clear machine in the jungle. So I do like the pivot here.
So good vision coming in from Singularity, and they're going to go back to the Lee Sin, just as you were talking about. Last pick coming in for Riddle. This is the last one. Ooh, insta pick for the
I'm
GP.
thinking now, I think this is going to be Rudolph on the Karma in the top side because
Yes.
he got the AP last time.
Yeah.
And Jax plank on one of the two champions that
knows.
his name is formed from, right? And I think actually Gangplank is pretty viable in the mid lane as well because you're playing in a shorter lane, harder to
swap them
punish.
as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Rudolph could go into the mid lane, and Jax goes to the top side, so there's a lot of vision here. This is what you get when you
Well,
get...
they're going to have a whoosh,
Oh.
Inception. It's like a quadruple swap.
Oh, what a shot picking Ornn like that. I love it.
Don't like R5 on?
I love it.
There you go.
So
I think it's
with
a
the
great
vision
pick.
of this? Yeah, tell me.
I remember you having an R5 on.
Because look at Riddle's comp. It's basically designed to play heavily bot side, meaning that the Ornn will be safe, just farming up in the top lane. And their only magic damage threat is from the Karma and the Nami. Basically, this Ornn, if he can get to 2-3 item, optimize heavily into armor, he's gonna be unkillable, while also allows his team to play full into the bot lane. So I think it's a great pick right now for Singularity.
This champion select coming in from Singularity was amazing. The way they shifted, they adapted. This is a good vision, like you were saying. Personality coming in hot from Singularity. What about Riddle?
I think it was like a great swap with the Karthus from jungle to mid because we saw Pop playing Karthus, so we're like, okay, Pop is bringing Karthus again, but first pick, it doesn't make sense. They swap it, really good drafting right there from Singularity, and I'm again a little bit worried because I think a Frozen Heart Rush from that on, he can walk into any bush blind and he will not take much damage because, yes, the Karma hurts early, but not too much later on.
Really fast is going to take it. Finn.
I think the Team Singularity.
Okay, what about you?
I'm going to stick with Riddle.
Ooh, so it's a 1-for-1. We're not agreeing on this one. Casters, tell me, who do you think is going to win, Riddle or Singularity? Take it away.
I think I'll take Finn's statement that whoever dies first bot will lose, and therefore that's who's winning. So Finn's got it. Well done, my man. Welcome to the NLC, everyone. This is how it goes. We end up with Gangplank v Carthus mid and Lucian Draven bot lanes, and I don't even really know where to begin because there are so many threads to follow here, MTS. Jaxplank is playing Gangplank in mid lane. The Carthus gets Flex out of the jungle into the mid lane. We've got Lucian Nami versus Draven Nautilus. It's all going a bit crazy. Couple quick points of order here as well. Riddle did have to miss a ban because they were late, so that is why that ban was missed first up. And of course, Vladdy is still suspended due to behavioral issues. So that is where we're at on that front. So that has left Riddle with some interesting positions in terms of how their roster's signed up, but it's probably affected why the drafts have also ended up a little bit odd. With that out of the way, what angle do you even want to take here? Because there is so much to go on.
Yeah, I mean, no, I just have to do the same as you did, right? I have to agree with Finn, like, the better bot is most likely going to win this game. I do like the fact that Singularity decided to, you know, you draft a heavy early ganking jungler in the Jarvan and not put Carthus there because, I mean, once again, as Finn mentioned, like, if you're playing Draven Nautilus against the likes of Lucian Nami, when Lucian Nami has a Lee Sin on the side, you don't want the Carthus on your side. So, as you mentioned, really interesting draft from both sides here. The Ultra Chad pick coming up from Tatuy as well. The Ornn last pick from on the...
You're into a Karma, you got a free lane. I mean, if you want to make this team fight even more wombo, you've now got Ornn ult, Jarvan ult, Carthus ult, Nautilus ult, Draven ult. Like, that's a lot of basic. You've got to stick them all in a big shot glass and blow them all up.
Yeah, I mean, I respect it a lot. You know, you have the Carthus, you have the Draven. Draven can pump out so much damage if he's fed. And I mean...
There's so many mirrors though, because Lucian Draven, two very aggressive early junglers. You've got Carthus GP, two people with global ults that want to farm up and affect the bot lane. You've got two early aggro AD junglers. You've got two kind of scaling top Zayd. One's an Enchanter, one's the Ornn, you know, tank engage option, but similarity in kind of how they want to play out at least this early game. Somewhat, of course, Karma gets shoved, etc. But like, that's a weirdly mirrored draft for being very disparate picks.
Yeah, no, that is for sure, right? And we see Jaxplank actually. Jaxplank is on top lane now, so respectable.
Okay, I see the switch.
Going back to his roots. Rudolph now. This is going to be a kind of challenge for him, right? Because Rudolph is coming in as a sub for the Riddle Academy team, and he's top lane main, obviously, now putting him on the Karma mid and playing against a Carthus, who is for sure he's not used to play against, right? It's gonna be nice to see. This mid matchup obviously probably was just gonna be about the farming. It's all gonna be about the bot side, but still nice to see Rudolph on the mid lane.
So players are where they are, but we have seen a slight switch in positions as we've seen. Obviously, Jaxplank is supposed to be the starting top laner for Riddle, so want to see what he can do here now in a matchup where potentially the Gangplank can punish against that Ornn a little bit earlier on, has got that first strike as well, so can try and trade that out with the Qs and get a lot of those procs. Of course, Karth's got the first strike as well in the mid lane, so we'll try and trade that out against the Karma, who will likely have Shove there, so I kind of see the angle of what Riddle have done. I just need to see whether it works as Paupers swiftly got to level 3 and has turned up bot lane, which is, I don't think, any surprise to anybody.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure, Paupers has to kind of cover his bot lane here. They want to push in the wave to make sure that Stefan cannot pull out an early lane gank, but they're actually going onto Nash.
You get the hook onto Nash, but I don't think get too much more. We'll get some trades back. Paup will just throw down a Dragon Strike, but will not throw down a flag beforehand. So, nice little hook from Yepe, but it won't lead to anything. Paup now going to return back over towards the Scuttlecrab and has still got his whole blue side jungle to clear. It's put him a little bit behind the pacing, but it did allow him to shield his bot side.
Yeah, and this is just kind of a small investment from Paup, right? He's losing a bit of time on his clear. Stefan is going to be able to pick up the top crab. So not really too much going on, but I mean, it's just good to be able to make sure that Spiky and Jeppe can make sure to push in that wave without getting punished.
Stefan.
And now Stefan want to punish mid?
What about it? Petuy decides wisely not to keep going forwards. If only he knew. There is a Q so available right there, right now. But they'll decide against it, and he will get back to base. Speaking of back at base, though, people, let's have a look in about how everyone at home is watching. NLC at home, look at those beautiful smiles there from @mjulet. If I pronounce that horribly, I do apologize. But it's nice to see little grins on there from our fans. Do keep throwing out that hashtag NLC at home. We'd love to see more of how you are watching the league.
Two happy chads.
Indeed.
Love to see it. That is...
Are they as happy as we are?
Yeah. I thought, you know, I thought coming into this game, I thought it would be so explosive just the first 5 minutes.
Right.
And both jungle, Grind's path into bot to make sure to cover both of the sides and probably beginning a lot of fights. But I mean, it's been kind of quiet so far.
It's kind of like those old Western samurai movies when they were drawing a lot from each other. It's like the first person to draw loses.
Yep.
And they've decided that right now those guns are in the holster, those swords are in the sheaths, and no one's quite been willing to draw yet because you blink, you lose. We've kind of been over that. Finn was pretty adamant on that, and I think all of us are kind of agreeing as Staffan continuing to just dance around a little bit in this top side, not really leading to all that much, but entirely a surprise with the champions around there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I just have to look at the fact that Singularity, once their champions is level 6, they're kind of all coming online.
Oh, yeah.
They have the cards of the Jarvan. It's going to be kind of, I think that's kind of, they're going to turn it up a notch. But I'm kind of surprised to see, I mean, Spiking Epic, they kind of been holding it down here on the bot. We have been pushed quite consistently, but obviously
Nice.
when you pick the Lucian Amra, you don't pick it to just go even. And now, yep, who's going to get bursted? You see, there's so much damage.
Honestly, I thought about to see a replay of game 1, where that Nautilus in the bush, not spotted, not on wards, finds a hook, and suddenly you're dead and it's all gone over. Nice read there from Nash, throws the Aqua Prism, punishes on that one. Of course, there's Biscuits in inventory, Yeppe's not in any danger there. Worth noting out the summon discrepancy as well. Yeppe's gone for the aggressive Ignite, which makes a lot of sense when you're all in. Nash has gone for the heal to provide a little bit more sustain, just trusting in the burst of Lucian Nami as they stand.
Yes, and this is kind of where I see kind of a mistake from the Riddle bot lane. You have the slow push. I don't think you have to be scared in 2v2. I think if Yeppe would go for the hook onto Reje, he would just exhaust Spiky and they would be able to turn it around. But now we see, again, once again, both junglers pathing towards the bot side. We see Cardus in the mid now, has level 6, but doesn't really have that much damage yet, right?
Yeah, he's got a book and a Dark Seal, and there's no stacks on that Dark Seal yet. Not quite made. Stolen enough of those souls, or decide to turn that into anything resembling a diary. Porp right now, just having a look to see whether there's an angle in on their Skull Crab. They are debating contestants. It's a 4v3 right now, but of course Karthus can engage from a long, long way away, but so can GP! Nami gets one, Karthus gets another, but Draven is dead, Spiky is gone, so is Porp, and Singularity overforced for the Scuttle Crab. In the top side, Tatuy will try and trade down to Jack's Plank, but he's got some oranges and he's just fine. Has had to burn the flash, but it's a 3-for-1, all things said and done.
It looks so good there initially from Singularity, right? They just were able to one-shot Reje, but I mean, Jacksplan coming in with the ulti, Stefan, I mean, they just have so much damage to turn around the fight with, and 3-for-1, I mean, they're just really happy about this. Even Cardus managed to pick up his book. I actually don't know what it's called.
Lost Chapter.
The Lost Chapter, exactly. Before ulting on that play, so gets a little bit more gold there from his first strike. But
no flash, remember,
yeah,
so he gets hooked. That's not bad, but do they even have the damage? They'll have some shields surely shortly, trying to get the Inspire heal off. Nowhere to renew, though. And as a result, Porp gets that one, and Singularity punish the missing flash on the Karma. Let's have a look at this replay one more time, because we said we'd say whoever draws first loses. Singularity the ones that look for this contest.
Yeah, I mean, Yeppe is, as you mentioned, he hits the right target, hits Reje, but I mean, Rudolph is just here. Cardus can only like kind of contribute with his ulti, but Jacksplan also with his ulti on his own. And I mean, it just looks clean there from Riddle. They just pick up 3 kills.
They do. Karthus, though, has at least got a kill, but you know, that Draven, those glory stacks are looking a little bit unglorious right now. Not a lot of cheering crowds because the glorious execution desires Spiky. Takes so much damage, threw down the exhaust. Flashes away and just about survives on 12 HP. Not sure how much regen came in through before that, but that is barely double digits. But now, of course, Reje needs to work out how he's going to get out just out of range of that dredge line. And Tatuy teleported in, no less, to try and help defend this tower. Means that Draven may well have to go towards the top side to try and shield that top lane as a result.
Yeah, that was honestly a really good point there. He kind of forced to go back to the top side now. And I mean, Tatuy investing his TP there, kind of making sure that, I mean, they're kind of going to FF the top side completely now. Yeppe, who I don't think they're going to win this one. The Nautilus and Door does not have as much damage. And Spiky, as you mentioned, probably was going to go up to the top side, but now he decides to drop it instead and goes back to fix the lane state.
It's a bit of an unusual choice. It's going to cost potentially another play. And again, Jack's Plank is named after 2 champions, Jax and Gangplank. He's got one of them. He's just got 3 assists. He's just been given a glorious lane state to his name as a result of that TP, and then some perhaps ill-opportune, some ill-decided lane allocations. Now Porp in a 1v3. He's got a tidal wave coming his way, and I don't think he wants that one. Surf is up, and he goes down to Reje.
And that's just the potential, right? Pop actually has the teleport with his
Spellbook,
with his Spellbook as well. Didn't have the flash. I mean, just solid pickup there from from Riddle, and
Here we go.
Tatuy.
He's going to look for that. Oh, and he is a tank. He's an assassin. He's a burst mage as well. Will not be able to find a knock-up quite yet, as all the while, we've got a little bit of a fight going on in the river. It's a 3v4. Yepe finds himself on the end of a queue and falls down to Stefan. Remember, this is the guy who was popping off the other day as Jaxbang being left to the Requiem. Bichone gets that one. And at least Singularity find that to spare their blushes.
And that's the silver line, right? I mean, Cardus once again picking up the kill with his ultimate. But feels like every time Singularity walks into River, they just lose. Riddle are constantly ready to pick up the fights.
The river is not theirs.
Yes.
It's really not.
Yeah. It's definitely a Riddle name tag on that river. And I mean, they secured the first Drake, not the earliest of Drakes. I mean, it's 10 minutes. The soul is not gonna be like a 22-minute soul or anything, but still good for Riddle. They are just keep scaling. They're finding themselves now in a
But just look at the mythic discrepancy. You've got a Gore Drinker, a Trinity Force, and a Gale Force versus parts right now. You've got like the fire from a fireplace in your inventory.
Yep.
It's like in a, I don't know what is a balmy cinder. It's like
What is a balmy cinder?
It's a balmy cinder. Yeah. What stupid question? What is it? A balmy cinder? Yeah. So everybody knows what that is. I'm being mocked by my colorcaster people, honestly. It's 2 games in, and this is where he's at. He's already learning. Double, do you want to check in here as well, though, a little bit with some things like that gold discrepancy, because it's 10 minutes in and you can see some big leads in the likes of the AD carry role and the jungle. Stefan on Monday really had a good performance on the Viego. Yes, there were some issues in terms of lane control and objective control early on, but that mid to late game efficiency was so good. He's now going to get himself first Herald as well, and this Lee Sin in a very powerful position to continue impacting the map alongside the rest of his team.
Yeah, no, for sure, right? I mean, they just have such a strong core now with the Lee Sin, the Lucian, Nami as well. And it's kind of what Finn talked about, right? If you get behind as either Draven or Lucian in this game,
it's sad.
It's really sad. You're gonna be close to useless, and that means that the only real damage they have right now is
Punish.
the Cardus.
Punish is still no flash, so there's an option here. Cataclysm come through, but there's going to be a cannon barrage. Going to knock him up, but not knock him down. Porp's taken so down low, and he just dies. Trial by fire, and Porp is burned alive.
That's just... that's it. Did you have to do that to them, Jaxbang?
That is a grass ball, not a spellbook on. You have Ignite there, you win that. You don't, you die.
Yeah, and this just puts... I mean, they invest in the top side. They try to go for a play on shot on Jaxbang, but that means that Reje can do the same on the boss side.
Oh, Yepe takes a big chunk now, needs to try and get away. Won't quite fall until the Ardent Blaze gets it. Sonic Wave resonating strike, flash out. Stefan just styling all over it.
And that just means that the Herald is for sure gonna go down right onto this boss. They're probably gonna get the full tower, and I mean, we talked about how Singularity they have to play through bots, right? They cannot invest anything into the top side, and they've not been managing to do so every time. As I mentioned, every time they walk into River, they just die, and that means you're not gonna have the control that you're looking for, and Riddle securing the first tower. Looks solid.
Against the Lucian, against the Draven Nautilus. There we go, get that name right correctly. He's in the mid lane. They are going to try and play towards their strength. Rudolph does get a renewal off to keep his HP bar high enough. Flashed away. It's going to be bloody close, but it's not quite enough. Has got an Inspire Shield to keep himself alive. Flash down, but a surviving Karma. We'll see this replay. Port burns the Flag and Dragon, so doesn't have any burst.
Yeah, I mean, you're super well played from him, right? I mean, the thing is as well, he can kind of play this disrespectfully because he has the good vision, but also if he's getting ganked, I'm gonna quote Odamna on this one. Whenever he says that whenever they try to gank him on the top side, my team is just gonna do something on the bot side, and we see Yepe getting completely one-tapped by Reje and Nash.
If you consider one tap like a full culling, you know, that's like pretty much a full magazine. So that counts as a one tap, it's like a 26 tap.
Firing back here, I see.
You know, I've got my points. As a Spiky is not going to be firing anything at the minute, as he takes a bullet to the face, and it turns out bullets are slightly more powerful than spinning axes right now. And yeah, the negotiations were very short. That parley ends very quickly, and yes, I'll make an episode 1 reference because Obi-Wan started. I'm very excited to watch more of that show. Moving back to League of Legends, 6,000, well, 5,500 gold. Doing maths on air, always a dangerous proposition. Either way, lots of turrets still to get. There's still plates for another 10 seconds. Singularity desperately trying to hold on to this tower, but the whole of Riddle are here to try and get some more gold in their pockets. Won't quite secure that third plate in the top side, which I'm sure they're very frustrated about.
And this is just, they're kind of bleeding out, like Singularity kind of forced to go onto the top side. They have to kind of match this Lucian Nami, or they're just going to keep bleeding plates. On the other side, though, now we see kind of a weird lane state where Draven is up against the Gangplank, obviously not going to have any pressure whatsoever in that lane. And this just means that while Gangplank is just farming the camps on the bot side, Riddle can keep pressuring on the top side despite Singularity putting 3 members there, and I mean, they're just losing all over.
Yeah,
yeah.
And don't get me wrong, you're a ranged champion, so you can always try and play the mind game with Gangplank about trying to hit the barrels.
Yeah.
Problem with the Draven is you're pretty calculated about where you're going to stand, because there's a big sort of symbol on the floor which says, I am going to be here in about half a second. Where Gangplank goes, great, I'll put a barrel there, try me. And that's not the best lane matchup as a result.
Yeah. I mean, it's just also when you're playing against such a guy who is kind of mainly the champion, right? I remember when I tried to play Gangplank, you can do whatever you want. I'm not going to hit those barrels, doesn't matter. But
I was able to do triple barrels for, for all of a week. And then I stopped playing it because at that point they started changing the way solo queue works, where you can queue for your own roles, not rules. And so I stopped playing as much Gangplank, and now I can barely do a double barrel, and I'm very bad at the champion. I'm not very good at the game in general, though, so that's not really saying all that much.
You are not alone about that. I remember my fellow top laner Truklax taught me about the Phantom barrel, but I'm pretty sure it's just a double barrel. He's just gonna call it the Phantom barrel.
It's a particular way of doing 2 barrels, I think, is what it is. Jamara will be able to explain it to you. Probably Hipra as well. Both of them play a mean Gangplank. Alas, they're not here, and so I won't be able to explain it. I could give you a pretty how do I put this? I could lie to you and make it sound like the truth, and then that's what it is. But that would be lying to you all. I don't really want to do that right now.
Yeah, we don't want to do that right now. Because we're kind of establishing a good relationship here, casters among us. We're just being nice to each other, no lies here. As I do say that, though, Jaxplank is not being nice to
no. Again, his negotiations are very aggressive. He's in the Renata Glass school of negotiating. Those parlays are not pleasant. Yeah, ow. Turns out that even when he's gone to the beach, dressed up for some summer fun, he's still a bit ruthless, is this former king of the pirates. Sarah Fortune may currently be the leader of Bilgewater, but Gangplank is no mean... no slouch. There we go, that's a better way of putting it. Either way, Jaxplank very happy in this game, going towards that LDR second. Lucian, 3-1 and 4. Nami, long time now had this Imperial mandate. There's the LDR completion for Gangplank. And you're looking on the other side, yeah, you got some item completions, but it is a long, long way away in terms of levels, in terms of just half items even. You're kind of looking at Piccioni going, please cast this one-shot, everybody.
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree with you. You just look on the side of Rival as well. It's not like they're getting completely outskilled or anything. I would say if this game was a bit more even, then you could argue that Singularity, they have, the tools, they have the Oral Ultimate, the Java Ultimate, they can really start a fight whenever they want. But when you're almost 6k down, there's not really
it's a bit sad.
Yeah, you don't really want to start a fight unless you have the numbers, and they're trying to create the numbers now onto the bot side, but I mean, Rudolph just playing Karma, playing safe, just clearing the wave and getting back off.
Precisely, and don't get me wrong, Draven is into a squishy comp, so while he doesn't scale the best, he's still going to get a point where you hit one axe and people will hurt a bit. You have got an Ornn, you have got a Karthus, both of these champions scale pretty well. But as it stands, now we're into the mid-game. Riddle are in full control. Riddle in a position to scale into this game. Riddle looking to stamp this game down. Remember, this is a team that switched out every single one of their members. They knocked X out of the playoffs. It was a bit of a shock. They lost MC, they lost Slow Q, they lost the whole team. But they had a pretty close game against Bifrost in some ways. They fought back in the mid-game. That Viego from Stefan was pretty strong on the Monday. We saw some really good stuff from Rudolph on the Vladimir. Now against Singularity, they're starting to be significantly more aggressive. They can't quite get to Tatuy there, who manages to buffer his way out the CC with a good Bellows Breast and Searing Charge. But the map is Riddle's, and the game plan feeling very much in action as Pawpaw look for something. But I don't know how much he'll realistically be able to get here. He'll get the remains of his Krug cap.
Yeah, I mean, that's a small win, but at this point you just kind of have to take whatever you're given.
Jeppe changes. Jeppe is giving over his whole wallet, mugged in his own jungle, loses out on everything. Ray picks that one up. The cannon barrage comes down as well. The Requiem won't get anything. Gangplank gets that one gratefully secured from across the map. And 2 dead. And the only thing that we saw Singularity get was the remains of Krugs.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to give it to me, that one. That was a one-shot on Tiepo.
Yeah, that one counts.
But yeah, I mean, this is just what happens, right? You kind of, Riddle has full control on the top side, and Yeppe obviously forced to kind of clear out the vision. But this is where you kind of look stupid as a support sometimes, because obviously you want to clear vision for your team, right? And make sure that you can do something, but I mean, he's just a full complete vision. He's completely alone. Of course he's going to get caught there. And after that, I mean, Spiky, forced to use his flash, but still goes down. And I'm just looking at this, you know, the next Drake probably going to be really tough for Singularity to contest, but they don't even have the cards to mess. I'm just really struggling to see where they can get
It's going to be so close. You got a second item on Karthus. That is it right now. And of course, the Shadow Flame into Karma can get a lot of use out of that item. Great. But your Draven, those stacks that were supposed to be glorious, meaty, beautiful sandwiches, it's looking more like a meal deal right now. That's not much of a stack at all. As Yeppe just dies, Stefan picks up that one. He's just been murdering the Nautilus all game long. This point in the river has just been littered with the corpses of Singularity since about 3 minutes into the game.
I would love to see the heat map of this river. It's probably just like literally just red deaths all over it, as Yeppe there once again is trying to get something going for his team, but super hard. And I mean, now it's looking like they're just gonna get the soul point. It's 20 minutes in. I just want to see now from Riddle, because once again they are playing with kind of subs, right? They're playing with Ryan as a sub, Rudolph as a sub as well. I want to see them with this huge goalie be able to set up Nash cleanly. Just secure it, don't 50-50 it, just make sure that you just get it clean and then try to end the game. On the side of Singularity, you just have to flip at this point. Like, you try to go for something. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, you're still gonna lose the game.
And don't get me wrong, you've got Lee Sin, Gangplank, Lucian. Those are your main threats. They're all AD. But 2 of them have got an LDR second. You're already miles behind. Building up armor is going to take 4 more items before it really feels like you're actually sustaining any of that damage. And it's such a long way away from even considering being happened. You've got an Infernal Soul on the way to pump up some more of that damage. And no map control, no damage, no levels. It is feeling very, very difficult. At least the Karthus is continuing to get some more farm. But just look at the discrepancies in bot lane. Look at the discrepancy in jungle. Like, that is such a big difference. And even the Gangplank is quite happily matching the Karthus.
Yeah, I mean, no, for sure. Jaxbank has been having a blast. And into Tatuy as well. Ooh, that's rough.
Oh, gets the reset on the trial by fire here. Potentially throws down the Cannon Barrage, looking for that solo kill. Will force the flash out of Tatuy's Ornn. No more to be found for Jaxbank, who decides not to flash to look for anything more.
Yeah, and this is just the downside as well, right? When you're losing health kind of everywhere, if you don't do anything, because I said the Singularity, you have to just flip it, man. If you don't, they're just gonna keep pressuring. You see Jaxbank now already on the tier 2, while Tatuy has obviously at the back. And this just
Yeppe, no, you're 4 levels behind. Flashes away to safety. More like Jeppe Ow right now. I think you might want to change the last part of that name. It's been a rough game for the poor Nautilus player.
Oh no. He got the ward though, but instantly got cleared by Nash.
Yeah,
didn't really do anything.
So sad. It's like, I've done it. Oh, dear.
But there's a ward there though,
look,
which he didn't clear.
They've got 1. That's important. It's in the Raptor camps. They've got a far side alteration in the back of the Baron pit that's being cancelled by a control ward. So that's currently the grand total of their vision in their red side jungle, namely not a lot. All the while, Rudolph is continuing to shove in onto this top lane tier 2. Won't be able to secure it. But it is a triage situation for Singularity. They need to find a way to stop the bleeding, because right now they've had their whole arm torn off and they need it tourniqueted now or they are bleeding out very shortly.
Yeah, I mean, arms, legs, like pretty much
it's a Black Knight situation for Monty Python. It's just a flesh wound.
Now Pop though, outside vision.
Has he gone too far? Of course, there's an exhaust going down, but he's just going to hold wall up away. Hasn't used the kick all the while. Yep, he's going to get a decent chunk, but a stopwatch prevents Reje going down. Nash takes a big chunk, but in goes Stefan again. He's going to kick Nautilus back, but doesn't really get that much. Tatuy is here, but there's just not enough damage. It looked like a brilliant flank, but they cannot finish off anybody. Heals, shields galore, and even Reje gets out alive.
That just has to feel so devastating, man. Like, you hit the most important target pretty much, like onto Reje. You hit the Nautilus hook onto Reje. Yeppe who not, I mean, just kind of clutching it there, obviously, but doesn't really matter. You just get, he just gets off with like single-digit HP, man. I'm so sad. They're now gonna get the tier 2. Not gonna start off the Baron though. They're gonna play it kind of safe. And I mean, which is respectable, right? They did lose.
Be a little afraid here. That's going to be a lot of damage from an E into the piercing light. And Porp definitely feeling a little bit full of holes right now. Does not want to get on the wrong side of that. It's some sunburn coming out of Lucian's light guns today.
Yeah. It's just super rough. I mean, this is kind of the best case scenario, right? Pop, you know, not on vision for once. Stefan playing real aggressive, opposites on the least, he can do whatever he wants, but then Jeppe hits the hook into the, but he actually, Reje has to stop for, so of course, he's just baiting, man. Gets out alive as well, and it's just disaster from there, man. They don't have the damage to finish people off.
No, you don't. And Tatuy, yes, you're tanky, but you can't quite get the kills, and all the while, like, Porp plays that right? Like, he refuses to use the Flag and Drag, waits for the Warthog, gets in onto Stefan, then they turn onto Reje, but they just don't have damage. Pigeon does a lot of work there, but the stopwatch prevents the side of the Lucian going down. In fact, I think there's a little bit of a spectator bug on our end as well, where we're permanently hearing the dulcet tones of the Zhonya's active. There isn't anyone actually just permanently a golden statue now. King Midas is not on the Rift.
That would have been quite funny, though.
It would have been. Just like, that would be a bug, though. That would probably mean a reset of the game.
Yeah.
It would be not so fun.
Maybe something that Singularity could use right now, but unfortunately for them, just a spectator bug. You may just hear the sound. Nothing going on there. We now 20
It's not
seconds.
the sound of silence. It is the sound of a distinct lack of damage, though. And the darkness of the grey screen is certainly an old friend for Singularity. I'll stop making Garfunkel references right now. As a big chunk onto Porp, who's going to Flag and Drag away, gets out to safety, but that means he's not realistically in a position to contest for this dragon. It's Infernal Soul on the line for Riddle. They will move on to the Infernal Drake, and Singularity just nowhere near in time to get a hold of it. Porp trying to heal up off the wave, will not be able to do that much. They're going to try and fight it out. It's a decent amount of damage from the Requiem of Karthus. But the Infernal Soul is gone. Stefan hops forward, going on to the Orn, who just doesn't feel all that tanky. Jeppe again, the point of pain. Turning it around to Stefan. Remember, Draven yet to cash in this entire game, and Singularity finds nothing at all. Porp goes in onto Jaxplank to try and buy space for his team, but he is dead again, and Riddle will shove in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, they're just playing super well around their vision, right? Not really much Singularity can do. They're forced to face check if they want to contest the Soul. I do, however, want to give some slack to the Karthus. Like, I think whenever you're playing these kind of combos, you know, they have the Ore and the Karthus as well. As Karthus, you kind of want to get into the fight and make sure that you use your passive. But I feel like every time the fight has started, it has started with the Karthus and not ended with it. And that's kind of
That's half of Karthus' health by the try turn down, has got the exhaust. Now needs to try and finish this one up. A lot of damage back, but just out of range of the Defiles. There's nothing to lay waste to anymore. Jaxplank gets the kill, he'll get out. And all the while, the Baron's taken on either side. They get a kill on one side of the map, they take the Baron on the other. Riddle, there is nothing they can do wrong in this game, it feels.
Yeah, I mean, they just have full control, it feels like, almost from the get-go.
Right.
Like, from the 8-minute mark, they secure the Herald. Now we see this just snowballs so hard. It's obviously Singularity, even though they have kind of tanky members on their team, they cannot face check, they cannot start a fight. It's just impossible. You look there, like, they used everything, but Rudolph just said, hey, I have Mantra E, I have my Redemption. It doesn't matter.
Nothing to be done at this point. Stefan gets chunked low, but he still doesn't fall. And then there's the mother of all shield thrown in on top of him. That is getting nerfed, by the way, so good to hear about that as Jaxplank gets Porp. And then we kind of see the play down towards that bot side where the bush bait comes through. It's Infinity Edge on top of Collector in inventory for Jaxplank as well, who will delete everybody's else for Spiky! Goodbye. On the other side, we've got another fight going on. Stefan hops out, not quite dead. Finally shut down. The Death Dance burns him out, and Stefan falls for the first time this game, and that is Singularity's first kill in 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really, really smart civil line, right? They get the shutdown onto Stefan, but in the end, does it matter? You know, Riddle managed to one-shot Spiky there, but...
Here we go! Oh, Reje gets out of it. They're still going to try and find something. Gets the flash out of the AD carry as well. So much damage back onto Rudolph, trying to get his damage down. He will still survive, though! Finally goes down, but all the while, they've lost 2 in trade, and the fight continues. Porp is dead now. Tatuy in a 1v1 with the Orn. Will miss the knock-up. Piercing lights coming through. A double tap from that Light Slinger passive, flashing over the wall, but Nash is here to offer some healing. He will searing charge away Reje, hopping forward. Ardent Blaze comes through, that will give movement speed, and the Forge God is about to meet the might of the Gunslinger. There ain't no one to try and get a decent knock up. Wait, gets the 1,000 gold shut down. I speak too soon. Forge Gods will still find some damage, and you can't quite make gods bleed that much. He's going to try and do it again.
Super cheeky from Tatuy there. Just goes out of vision, knows, hits the stun this time around, and I mean, gets the shot on Tatuy. I mean, not bad at all, but once again, what did you lose? You lost 2 inhibs. You lost so many waves of that, and Tatuy, I mean, this is just BM, man.
He's got a Giant's Belt and a Hope right now. Stefan will get a kick, but he goes unstoppable with a Searing Charge, actually. That does a decent amount of work, but it's still not quite enough. He will be delayed on his rebirth, but at least it's a couple minutes until an Elder Dragon comes through, so he'll be alive for that. He's got the teleport to get out on the map afterwards, but that was some moments of, I don't know, levity, not really brightness, because this game is so far in Riddle's hands.
Yeah, and we talked on Monday. They kind of drafted some identity that we haven't seen from them in the last split. They drafted, obviously the first big knockdown we could have been better, but if you do draft the knockdown, you kind of have to go with it. They did draft the Camille as well on Monday. They managed to snowball the Camille, but after the laning phase, they couldn't really do anything. In this game, I do see some identities, right? You have the Draven, you want to snowball. You have the Cardus, you want to just be able to scale. Same with Ornn, but they just didn't manage to turn up their speed this time around. Stefan, though.
It's a last gasp, it's a last attempt. Singularity look to get in. Pork goes, he's just gone. I was saying he's going in, but he is just going straight into the grave. He is 6 foot deep already. Yepe dies for a double to Reje. And it was a last gasp, but it was a pitiful little bit of air that comes out of the lungs there. There is nothing left in the tank, and they are well and truly drowning in this game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just realized now that Karma, as a first pick, feels like maybe Cardus is not the way to go into it. I used to look every single fight when Cardus is ulting, doesn't really matter. Rudolph, once again popping a Mantra E, but they're just gonna go for the end here, it looks like.
Maybe it would have been different if the Draven was a champion in this game. Instead, Spiky will likely fall for a 5th time. 0-4-1, never cashed in this entire time. It's been 30 minutes. There is an Infernal Soul, there's a man advantage. Stefan goes in, gets exhausted, but will not fall. Down goes Pork. Jax Blank is godlike on his signature namesake champions, and the eponymous hero of Riddle finds another as Reje gets another couple as well, and once again it's Tatuy alone. The Ornn who will watch as his base falls, and Riddle will turn their score to an even state. 1-1 after week 1.
Just super impressive from Riddle, right? They just, just from the get-go, they were just feeling they had the control. Jax Black on one of his signature champions in the mid lane, in the top lane actually, putting Rudolph onto mid, giving him quite a challenge, but he was just farming. They were just doing super well together, and the river, it just had their name on it. Riddle all over it.
The waters were dark and dangerous, and if not shark-infested, then Nami-infested, dangerous mermaids abound. And yes, Nautilus is a diver, but I don't think you're meant to dive all the way down into the grave, unfortunately. It was a bit of a demolition. We said those who drew first lost. They tried on the bot side, they got snowballed on, Draven dies, lights out.
Yeah, this is just, as you mentioned, right, Finn mentioned it before the game started as well, it's just such a bot-centric comp for both teams. And when one side snowballs, it's gonna look like this.
It does, but that's enough from us. It's time to throw over to the analyst desk, who will be able to perhaps explain a little bit more of that absolute demolition from Riddle.
Thank you so much. Initialize, explain. It's kind of hard in these sort of situations. There's not much Singularity could do at that point. What was the game plan to begin with?
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed. And
Okay,
I'm going to tell you
up.
why. Because, so I see this lovely draft from Singularity. Absolutely splendid draft. Great pivoting
Fan?
draft. Huge fan.
Okay.
Massive fan. But when I see how they executed on it, it made me a bit disappointed because, so what Jarvan did, he started on his top side, he did red, Grump, and chicken nuggets, and then he walked into bot side. So either way, when you're the bot lane of Singularity and you have the push, you have 2 options here. Either you try to dive really early and call your jungler down to skip camps, because usually Lee Sin is farming. If Jarvan skips camps, they can come down faster and they can pressure the dive. But the other option is that you can use that Jarvan full clear and use the pressure of the dive to make Lee Sin come and cover it. But they did neither. They first just pushed the wave and crashed it, and then Jarvan came down and looked for a gank that didn't exist. And then he has wasted so much time that the early game for Riddle became so easy because they knew exactly what Jarvan is going to do. Later on, Jarvan walked back, showed on top crab without basing, and his whole pathing was just totally obvious from there. So there was actually no threat on the Riddle lanes. So that made me really sad because it was such a lovely draft, and I think they could have done a lot better with it.
As soon as they give up that information, it's quite easy for Riddle, especially Stefan, the player we were talking about, to get the vision on the enemy and play accordingly to that. No.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you have a better task when like the Draven doesn't snowball as well, because I wanted to hit on that Singularity part as well. The fact that you have drafted for your Draven down the bot lane, it's in the hands of Spiky as well, who is a really good Draven player. You've got it together with the Nautilus. Huge threat onto the Nami. Nami missteps, Nami dies on the 2v2 like instantly. And also, I feel like Jarvan is like one of the more creative junglers that you can play, like Finn said as well. You can do so many different things. You can invade, you can scout, you can early gank, you can full clear. Like, you can do so many things with this champion, and I felt like Pop fell short in a lot of these situations. If you don't snowball your Draven, yes, you have two very early game spiking bot lanes, but Lucian is also very helpful towards the latter stage of the game, right? If your Draven falls behind, then your game becomes a little bit difficult to play. So I felt like, again, yes, Singularity had an idea, and I liked the way they drafted, and I love the way they pivoted their characters to the mid lane, because I think Pichone did really well onto the pick as well. But then it fumbled on the execution quite a bit. When we come to Riddle, I have to say that I also enjoyed the quadruple swap around where you bring your sub top laner, but he's not playing top lane anymore. He's playing mid lane on the Karma, and then you swapped top lane into the mid lane, back to the top lane, but you're still playing with your sub ADC. So it was a situation, but I love the way that they put the Karma in the mid lane, because you have perma priority. Your Lee Sin gets to play the game for free because you always have a backup. Then later on, when the Requiem comes down, even though yes, the Shadow Flame plays a part, but the Mantra Shield will help a lot in these situations. And even though Pichone was hurting, the Karma proved to be more useful on shielding.
And the GP did a good build.
This GP was smurfing his pants off this game. He played so well. I think it was very clutch in a lot of these barrel contestations. For example, I don't know if I have the clip, but when he got ganked on top lane, and he just 1v2'd, killed the Jarvan and got out, that was just very well played on his part. Got both the barrels, got 3 passive procs off, and just like blew up the Jarvan and then got out with his life. It was a complete heist. Peace. Yeah. Also, I really like this build. These days, a lot of GPs pivot, or not pivot, but what do you call it? Autopilot, go into this montage YouTube highlight build, which is just like the big barrel, the SS Reaver,
He almost one-shot Attila with that build.
Yeah. But this guy went for the Trinity into the Lord Dominic, and then goes into crit, which is a lot more stable build. He's a way higher one-item spike, and also it scales more nicely into the game, because if you buy this full lethality build, full crit build against a tank on side lane, you're really squishy not only, but it's also hard to actually kill him. So you don't actually put that much pressure onto him on side.
And I do believe now we have the opportunity to go into the interview from Riddle. Reje is with us for the interview today. There you go. Hello, welcome to the interview. Pleasure to meet you as well. First time in the interview.
Hello.
I was expecting someone else, but let's do this. So, how did this game win for you guys? Because you were listening to us, Finn, the way the Draven was picked and all that, but it didn't win the way for Singularity. It went for you. How do you feel the game went?
I mean, it kind of went the way we expected. We were like a bit scared you wanted to pick Draven because it's kind of a ballsy pick, but we were like, it's fine. Unless like they do something crazy, we're gonna win it.
Okay, it was not aggressive on the bot side. I was expecting the Lucian and Anami to be a little bit more aggressive, try to go for the Draven, remove the stacks, but you guys kept it cool at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of scared because they have a Jarvan that he might just do like, a red buff into straight bot lane. And then like the lane would kind of be over for us if that happened. So we just waited, kept our, how like we're supposed to play it, and just waited for our jungler to come and just play 3v3.
Reje, welcome back to the league, first of all. I've welcomed back so many players
Everyone,
today. It's crazy.
welcome back.
Yeah, happy to have you back, obviously. I want to know your thoughts jumping back into the Riddle lineup that you have played previously in. You're back in the same team again. I want to know your thoughts on the roster, and also the thoughts on like the completed roster, because I'm like, they pulled the quadruple swap. Like, they put the top lane in mid lane, they have the sub-top laner. Now the sub-top laner is now playing mid lane, and the original top laner is playing top lane. Please talk to me a little bit about like, how like your coach is thinking about all the swaps, everything.
Honestly, none of us knows what's going on. We just kind of went into this week. We didn't have any scrims at all, and we just like, well, let's just hope for the best and play our best, And then we just decided, well, maybe it's better for Jack Splank to go top this game because he had better matchup, stuff like that. Yeah.
So even though they're adapting, it's a good adaptation.
It's fun. Like every round must be
Yeah.
so much fun for them because it's like Reje doesn't know if he's going to end up in the jungle suddenly, you know?
For the enemy is also complicated because you don't know who you're picking against, like,
Yeah.
who's going to play
Yeah.
where. And now, so are you playing with the full team right now in terms of scrims, or are you still unsure?
No, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say actually, but
So
I'm just
maybe
gonna
don't
say it.
say it, I guess. Maybe we skip this question.
I am not gonna play after this week. I was just there to help for this first week because of some implications.
Implications, that's a good way to say it. And how did you feel with the team on this?
I mean, the guys are great, and I'm sure they will be a good team once they actually start practicing. You know, we have zero practice at all as a team, so.
Okay, so if I don't get to interview you anymore, what do you want to say to everybody back at home?
I just want to go cheer for Riddle. They are awesome guys and great players.
There you go. That's all we needed, man. Thank you so much for the interview. It's a
Thank
pleasure
you
to
for
have you
having me.
back, and let's see what happens in the future.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. Uncertainty is the main word for Riddle right
That's
now.
fun. Imagine
They got
going
the
into
point.
the jungle and not knowing if your support is going to end up jungle, the ADC is going to end up top lane, the top lane, the two solo laners are going to end up playing support and ADC. That's fun.
This is blind pick. You don't know where you end up. What is the position I'm queuing in? I don't know, but they
How
still
would
got
you
the
feel
W.
if you were put like support suddenly on all?
I mean, I've had some scrims where I end up in different roles because reasons, you know. But it's always a lot of fun, I think. I think when you get put up in different roles, it kind of motivates you to try even harder, you know, because you want to like prove to these guys that I can beat you when I'm out the field.
I'm better than you at your own
Yeah,
position.
it
You also want to prove to your support that you're a better support
Yeah,
than they are, right?
it like activates something really deep inside of you to just like show how good you are on that role. I mean, obviously there was a point in solo lanes where you would like swap a lot. You would play. I played a lot of mid, for example, because the mid meta would be like set and nocturne or whatever, yada yada yada. And that was a lot of fun, I think. I really enjoyed going mid and just like, haha, now the game is played around me.
So when you
Put
played
me a pink
mid-
ward here and put me a pink ward there and come mid on this way.
You control everyone.
Yes.
when you played mid lane, how powerful did you felt?
I felt like the main character.
There
You
you
know?
go.
When I play top lane, I'm like a nice supporting cast, you know, like the nice dad, you know.
It's
or
like he
something.
walks down on On and he's like, we have an On? The
Are you
whole game?
playing, Finn?
But when you're in the mid lane, you're actually the main character because the game is like actually centralized around you. So you can do so much more, which is kind of fun.
And I'm going to interview another top laner. It's Tatuy on Singularity side. Hello, mate. Welcome back. And it's not going as you guys want to. Second defeat in a row. Obviously, I have to touch the wound. How are you feeling, Tatuy?
Oh, well, that was kind of miserable, I'm not gonna lie. So, not feeling very happy about that one.
Okay, and the big question, I have to do this, okay? I love you, man, but I got to do this. So where did the plan go wrong for the composition from Singularity? Because everyone at the desk believed that the Singularity composition was so good.
Yeah, we thought this was better as well, but then we agreed we shouldn't fight till we have Hot Salt and Brave and Mythic, if like preferable. But we just, like, I don't know what happened, we just fought bot for no reason and then we lost.
Well,
So-
Tatuy, sorry that the game plan wasn't executed as obviously discussed. Thank you for the hovers. Really appreciate that.
Amen.
Hovering for all of us. Now, I want to ask you, obviously, because Singularity is a team that kept the entire roster almost and changed like one very pivotal part, which is the mid lane, right? And I feel like Piccione has actually like performed in the two games that we have seen. What do you think like slightly goes wrong? Because at the start, you're trying to find, you know, your style. Like, and even if you change just one player, you're still trying to find your style and how you want to play the game. So what do you feel is going wrong at this point that you guys need to work on?
Well, we have some confidence issues, I would say. We had some bad scrim results. I think we lost 27 games in a row or something in scrims. So we are still kind of recovering from that one.
Well, you know what they say when you lose scrims, you win officials.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're waiting to see the win streak.
Okay, okay.